Oh, right. Let me check. Let me see why it's not on yet. Oh,
But
is it
yeah, we're
on
here
now?
with mining wars and
Okay, so now we are on YouTube. All right, great. All
oh,
right, go. So we had
mining
a
wars.
little mishap right now. So welcome everyone to an episode of Box Mining. Sorry about that. So apparently I did the whole intro segment by myself, and it's not online yet. So let me do a new intro. Welcome back everyone to another episode of Box Mining here. So I guess this weekend is a little bit brutal. Let me just throw that on the screen right now. But it was a situation of almost down only for almost every single coin. So if you look at the last 7 days, it's been on a pretty down. Every coin has been on a pretty downward trajectory. And only today do we see a little bit of respite, little bit of recovery here today, as just a few Asian bulls are waking up and buying the dip in a very what I would regard as a very oversold market. Today, we're going to move on and discuss some of the core issues surrounding this. Like, why is this happening? Why the dip? And it's a relation of factors. And a few of the very big factors we're going to cover in a lot of detail. One of them is what's happening with Grayscale. This seems to be causing a lot of fear on the Western front, because it could be the case that before previously, Grayscale was buying quite a lot of Bitcoin. It could be the case that they might start selling some because of an expiry coming up. So we're going to cover that in a little bit of detail. We'll cover a little bit about what their future strategy will be. And it's going to be, they're not going to ditch crypto, but they're going to change their angle of attack. So we're going to talk about that. We also have a discussion on mining, because mining is impacting a lot of this market. I'm going to show you one graph that's going to be quite interesting for you guys, which is the hash rate on the Bitcoin network. This is what's causing a lot of fear, because if you can see what's happening, what's very clear here is that there's a drastic decline in the total hash rate of the Bitcoin network. And this is attributed to what's happening with mining in China. So in Sichuan, China, the miners are getting kicked out. And you can see kind of two phases of that right here, right? It's very clear. One bit, like when the initial China FUD came, and now there's a second China FUD wave, which is affecting the network hash rate. We're going to talk about this in a lot of detail, because a lot of times this is regarded as negative news, right? A lot of times this coincides with the market moving. We'll explain why the market moves at times like this, but at the same time, I actually regard this as a big positive for the cryptocurrency markets overall. Even for decentralization overall, I regard this as a big positive. So I'll share you guys the inside scoop. We'll talk about what's happening. Nate's going to also cover what's happening with kind of the U.S. welcoming mining. It's kind of the start of this mining war. China's trying to kick them out. U.S. is trying to bring them back in. So we're going to talk a lot about that. We also have a returning guest today. So you guys all loved Crypto Gemmy when she came on last week. You guys wanted more and more content from her. So let's go say hi to Crypto Gemmy. Welcome, Gemmy. How are you?
Hello. I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me again.
Awesome. So we have a packed episode, guys. So we're going to discuss everything and cover a lot of the news. We also have another special guest coming on today, and we'll reveal that in a second. But before we do, let's smash up those likes. It really does help the channel grow. Also, Nathan and Gemmy both have their respective channels. Nathan has Cryptonauts and Gemmy has Crypto Gemmy. So check them out. Check out what they're doing. They're doing amazing content, and it's pretty impressive. So make sure you guys check that out today. Also, I mind the construction noise. I have a lot of construction noise coming in today. I think like all my neighbors are tearing their places apart. So apologies if there's a lot of construction noise. I'll try to mute myself as much as possible. But without further ado, smash the like, guys. Share the likes. Let's get the party started. All right. Big welcome to everyone. We got Shiv saying hi, and we got everyone on YouTube saying being excited. By the way, guys, big thank you for smashing up those likes. I just saw a huge number of new likes coming in, so make sure you smash those. Thank you very much, guys. All right, so just a quick glance. We'll start off with a quick glance at the markets. Obviously, it was pretty brutal this weekend. I mean, we saw Bitcoin dropping down. We saw like the kind of a low. It's around $33,000 yet again. Yeah, it's unpleasant to watch crypto on a weekend, especially like we've been seeing this effect on a few weekends now, where we see heavy low volume bleed out as well, coupled with fear on the market. It doesn't make a good combination. So we saw Ethereum dropping from around $25,000 on Wednesday, Thursday to all the way down to 20K. So we almost reached 20K. We did not drop below that. So that was pretty strong. So I'll bring up the charts. It's so right here. We talked a little bit about this on Friday. This was the bad signal that we're seeing, the death cross that was coming in. So this is the 500-day moving average crossing with the 200-day moving average. So you can see that this is always regarded as a bad omen in crypto, right? And this is what was causing a lot of fear. So you saw kind of the crypto markets reacted to, oh my God, the death cross is coming. Prices dumped a little bit more. But overall, I feel like at this current point, there's a lot of substantial changes to crypto. And whilst I see that in the short term, all right, short term, I still see that there's going to be a lot of volatility here. Honestly, I'm kind of bracing myself short term because I feel like with the lower volumes that we're seeing, especially on these low week, the bleed outs that are happening also, and we'll talk about the trading impact. I'm definitely bracing myself for further kind of perhaps Bitcoin touching and retesting to see if 30K will be that magic number with that support is very strong. But at the same time, I'm long-term bullish. I just actually finished a very good explanation video of what's happening in El Salvador. So this is with Economics Explained, and I highly encourage you guys to check that out. But it's super positive in terms of what they're doing, because they're adopting Bitcoin as legal tender there, right? So I'll share that video. Let me see how to share it.
But I know this
video.
I know this guys. Yeah.
Great. I love economic. This guy is awesome. This guy is like legit awesome. But I'm gonna share that on the YouTube channel right here. But you guys just check that out. But long term, right? El Salvador is the kind of the first nation to really adopt Bitcoin as a kind of a legal national tender. That and one of the reasons why, right, that he explains it very well, is because El Salvador has a lot of people who travel overseas to work a lot into US. So they go to the US, they work, and they need a way to send money back efficiently, right? So Bitcoin really fulfills this role. And of course, El Salvador doesn't really use their national currency. They use the US dollar, but they're saying they're kind of trial testing to see if Bitcoin can fulfill that role of what the US dollar is doing. So I feel like this is such a monumentous event, right? Because like the way, I guess I have to make a correction, because when I saw this on the news, I think the impact wasn't there, right? Of like, of them accepting this as legal tender as this. But the way that it's really happening is they're really accepting this nationally, right? And I think it's going to be slow to adopt, but once it adopts, this is going to be the biggest trial run for Bitcoin as a currency. So anyways, this is long-term bullishness. I think anyone who's been investing in this space, we are long-term bullish, because you see the signs of this coming, right? Whilst short-term, yes, Feds said they're not going to hike up their interest rates. Whilst we have the death cross looming in the short term, whilst we have all this mining FUD and uncertainty of what's going to happen in China, but I see long-term the Bitcoin adoption train is just powering through. Anyway, so this is where, yet again, we're at this point where most of the long-term investors like, oh, Bitcoin's on this massive discount right now. It's unbelievable, and you guys kind of know that too, right? But at the same time, I think the normies who are in this space, right, the people who just got exposed to Bitcoin, they're looking for these massive gains in a short amount of time, and this is where they lose interest, and where kind of we pick up the the cheap crypto. So anyways, it's kind of funny. I was actually reading, anyways, so that's kind of what's happening in the market. Ethereum also same thing. We'll just take a very quick look at the charts right now on ETH. Oh man, Eve had a very, very rocky week. So it touched our support. So it almost dropped below $2,000. This was what a very critical period. So this is the peak FUD. Eve almost dropped below 2,000, but we did see it touch that line over there. Yet again, it's a good sign because it touched and it didn't dump below. But I think there was a lot of fear on the weekend. Oh my God, Eve is going to drop to 1,000, maybe 1,600-ish levels, and that would kind of freak people out. But again, we held strong, but it was a tough fight. I'll be honest here. It was a tough fight this weekend. Now, with other coins, there's not too much activity. You can definitely see a lot of red overnight. I definitely see right now with the whole, something I do look at is also transaction fees. And it's for two reasons. Like right now, if you look at the transaction costs of Ethereum, it gives you an indicator of how many people are trading altcoins, because a lot of altcoins are on Ethereum. And with gas prices being as low as they are right now, with 15 Gwei, this morning I was actually seeing 9 Gwei. It goes to show that there's very little urgency on the market. So the way this works is that the higher the gas fees, the more transactions, the more people competing. They're paying more and more to get that transaction across because they just want those coins. But right now, those costs, that gas price is very low. So people are just, they're just chilling out. You can barely see anyone right now on kind of this segment here. This is the premium first class cars, the people who are paying the most. People just aren't paying that much of a premium. So right now, this is definitely a sign that the market is cooling down and cooled down by a lot. So if you remember at the peak, it was around 150 Gwei, almost 250 Gwei at a certain point. So right now we're operating at 1/10 of the hype level. The gas level is at least at 1/10 of what it used to be. So that goes to show how kind of very calm the market is. There's just no urgency right now. However, let's take a quick look at what's happening. So let's go straight to the news. I think we prepared for this. So the news part, okay. So what's causing this? What's causing this uncertainty? What's causing this hesitation? Obviously, two factors, right? So I talked about the dev cross and also about Bitcoin, about Greyscale. So Greyscale has this giant unlocking that's happening very soon. And I'll explain to you why this is very important. Because Greyscale in many ways caused a lot of what's happening with the movements of Bitcoin up, right? The reason why was that they were a very easy way for traditional institutional investors to buy Bitcoin. Normally, institutional investors just can't buy Bitcoin because if they ever try to buy Bitcoin with their money, who's going to keep it for them, right? And if that Bitcoin gets lost, how do they answer to their investors, right? So Greyscale became one of the easiest ways for institutional investors to buy Bitcoin. And previously, what was happening was that they were buying this on a mass, and you can see that previously, all the way in July of 2020, you can see there was a premium for Greyscale. All right, so this is the GBTC. There was a premium. People were paying 10% extra in terms of the cost. So they're willing to pay 10% extra. They're willing to eat the 2% management fee per year. This is not a small amount. So that was what's happening. So Greyscale kind of powered the initial rise of Bitcoin, but then it rapidly fell out of favor, right? So the tipping point was really in Feb. So in Feb, there was a discount, and this discount is getting larger and larger right now. So the discount is around 14%, which means that people were trading this GBTC at a discount, right? Largely because there are a lot more options to buy for other options to buy for institutional investors to hold Bitcoin, so they don't have to pay the 2%, right? So that's going to cause an issue because as the GBTC discount grows, well, Greyscale is going to sell Bitcoin because they're going to allow, once the expiry happens, they're going to allow the investors, some of the investors to exit. Some people, they're going to de-risk, they're going to reduce the amount of Bitcoin they hold. So this is what's causing a lot of fear in the market, because as Greyscale potentially can unload their Bitcoin, yeah, that's the scary part. So that being said, of course, Greyscale is also adopting a slightly different strategy as well. So, Gemmy, do you want to give us a quick insight on what Greyscale is going to do next for us?
Sure. I do have prepared a news for you guys. So, do you mind sharing the screen? Yes,
yeah,
thank you.
Yeah.
Grayscale looks to add Okay. Grayscale looks to add Solana, Polygon, ICP, and 10 more crypto assets. The crypto asset manager is now exploring a total of 31 new investment products, which include 1inch, Banker, Curve, Kava, Kyber Network, Loopring, Near, Rent, Universal Market Assets, and 0x. Well, currently Grayscale is providing a series of products, of course, including Bitcoin and Ethereum, and a lot more, Filecoin, Litecoin, but there are a lot more. I just don't understand why they own it in the first place. For example, Bitcoin Cash and Ethereum Classic. I mean, at the end of the day, I think this is still a positive piece of news for the crypto space. So I'm excited to see how this goes.
It's definitely a direction change. So I think they noticed that they're getting a massive discount. They noticed that the institutional investors are not willing to pay that 2% management fee. It's not that institutional investors are not interested in Grayscale or are interested in BTC, but that management fee is ridiculous, right? 2% on your assets. I mean, what kind of scam are you running, right? So at that point, like 2% to help me buy Bitcoin, right? Like I will never accept those rates. I will never say, oh yeah, I'm going to buy some Bitcoin today, but you can take 2% of my money to help me buy Bitcoin. That's no per year to help me manage that Bitcoin. It's just like but so you can see that. Okay, so you can see their shifting strategy, right? So they're here saying, okay, look, the options are there's going to be expiry, so very likely they're going to dump some Bitcoin. But at the same time, the response to that will be like, okay, look, if institutional investors want to get access to these 30 new investment products, so basically essentially 31 coins, right? So come on to Grayscale. We'll help you store that for you. So this is their changing strategy, right? So this is a changing strategy. They see that the Bitcoin product is not as successful, but people are definitely afraid it's going to dump a little bit because there's definitely a massive discount right now. So they'll probably dump a bit, equal out the discount a little bit here. All right. So I'll definitely say we'll see some sell pressure, maybe, and then eventually they're going to buy other products. So they're kind of preparing for the next wave, so to speak, because people like Bitcoin. Well, do you like Ethereum? Do you want to hold that? So I can definitely see this as a shifting strategy. Anything else you want to add to that, guys? It's not. All right, let's see. All right, not too much here, but that's I think it's a change. I think change is going to come. So that's one piece. The second thing is about mining, which is kind of impacting the price right now with what's happening. So like I said earlier, there's a huge drop in the mining hash rate. So this is also what's kind of pushing downward pressure on the market. And this really comes from two reasons. I think Nate and Gemmy, you guys probably have seen a lot of articles saying, oh no, China's stepping in, they're cracking down on the Bitcoin mining industry overall. And yeah, you can see that, the first time China, turned negative against mining, you saw miners kind of shut down the miners, and then you see the peak down here. What they did is they moved their miners out, right? Because we're kind of telling you guys at this time, the miners are moving out. They're not, dying. Right, I feel like there was a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt at that time where people were like, "Oh man, China's banning mining, Bitcoin's gonna be dead." There's a lot of fear, but no, they didn't. They just kind of shut down the machines and then moved out of China and then switched them back on again. But we're seeing this kind of again. This is like a 2 times double attack where China's being a lot more serious. So whoever's staying in China, they're probably now forced to turn off and try to migrate. So we see a second or third great migration. So Nate, you have some articles as well. You see, so China's pushing these miners out. What's US doing right now?
So I'm sharing my screen here.
All right, let's put your screen up there.
So I'll make this super quick. So Texas is a state down south. That's where I was born. And so Texas and Florida are both really open to blockchain now. The governor of Texas just mentioned that, they're going to start doing different proposals. And so historically speaking, I can give you guys a little bit of what it's like from in the past. So Texas it's built its industry on oil and gas. It's mostly known for its commodities. So all of my family and friends, like a lot of them work in gas and oil. So there's oil rigs and it's all about like farming, ranching. So all of these commodities. So now they are actually proposing to put in a ton of these ATMs at HEB supermarkets, which are some of the supermarkets I went to growing up. And they're going to start bringing in a lot of miners. They're going to try to get a lot of miners there because it's kind of very fitting. Because mining, you need a lot of space, you need a lot of cheap electricity, and you need a lot of industry. So as Texas slowly destroys the earth for profit and continues to pull up the oil is a finite amount. And so people are slowly losing their jobs because there's not as much oil as there was before. So there's not as much, because commodities, you're just there and you dig up the ground. So now they're going to make more jobs, and it's a new industry, and it's very fitting for Texas to do so because of its history of the industry. So if they can capitalize on this, it will be very good. I think I'm all for it, but we'll see if this is a true good play from Texas and Florida, or if it's just news. And so also with the Miami side, so Miami, this city was built on. It might sound kind of bad to say it on YouTube, but it was built on the selling of cocaine. Cocaine was a huge thing in the 1970s, and it was one of the largest import-exports places for this. And so it kind of ties into Bitcoin a little bit, but they also have nuclear power, and the entire city was built on this kind of industry. I'm not saying that Bitcoin is used for bad things, but in general, because of the war on drugs and what a huge mistake that was, I think migrating to Bitcoin is good. It'll kind of like give Miami a better name instead of just known for drugs, and it can actually be known for Bitcoin. And what's interesting is that he also published the mayor of Miami published the Bitcoin white paper to their website. This is the government website, and the Bitcoin white paper is here. So we can see that the city of Miami and places like Texas, they're slowly opening up the realms of mining and Bitcoin, and just the whole idea of this is coming, and seems like that they're very open to it. So yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, I think very quickly to add to that, why this is so important and why they're vying for it is because the profitability of Bitcoin mining is still pretty darn massive. So if you look at it, miners make around $23 million per day. So this is the entire network split between all miners. Obviously, there's a lot of miners out there. There's a lot of mouths to feed. But if the US can attract a portion of that, and if Bitcoin value also increases, that amount also increases too. So the number of Bitcoins being mined per day is the same, right? Until the halving, it actually drops. But if the value of Bitcoin increases, then this industry will grow, right? And that's what a lot of people are banking on. And this is where there's initiatives to set that in place. So I kind of see that kind of very interesting, where there's an immediate effect where China's banning Bitcoin mining, and immediately the US is trying to open it up. Also, I want to say it's not just the US, but globally around the world, where what miners really want is the access to the cheapest electricity possible. A lot of times this is right next to thermal, nuclear, or other forms of power that's relatively sustainable, but also more importantly, it's low priority power. The reason why they get such cheap power is because they can negotiate and get power that would otherwise have been wasted. So this is why a lot of cities, if they have excess production of power, say like in Iceland, they're trying to sell their electricity because they have geothermal, or if there was Hydro-Quebec was basically trying to sell the power for cheap because they would have otherwise been wasted. They would produce the power, it would have been wasted. So again, this is a global competition. The way I see it, all right, the real perspective on this is, why is there FUD? Well, there's FUD because miners need to move out, and in order to migrate out, right, after shutting down the machines, they're going to migrate. It's going to be an expensive process. And to fund that process, they're going to sell Bitcoin. And more importantly, there's also fear, uncertainty, and doubt as to kind of what this really means on the market. I mean, you guys all know, and we've been saying this nonstop, it doesn't affect Bitcoin whatsoever because Bitcoin can readjust its difficulty. Bitcoin will never get disrupted by something like this. Maybe we'll have a little bit slower blocks for a while, but Bitcoin is self-adjusting. However, the fear comes from people's lack of understanding about this event, and also from the miners who do have to sell some Bitcoin in order to migrate. They have to do this great migration, right? So they're expected to sell a little bit of Bitcoin. move out. And yet again, that adds to the sell pressure that we saw. And this is why we kind of have see this like this down only trend that was happening on the market, where the markets are already very brittle over the weekend because of the lower trade volumes, coupled with this dev cross, coupled with the grayscale factor, coupled with mining. I feel like that this was kind of like the concoction that was happening here in this situation. So anyways, so that kind of explains why we were down only for this week. Obviously, short term, I feel like these factors will still kind of play for maybe a week or two, if not a month. But yeah, this is the waiting game. We'll have to wait until this flood clears out. But we definitely seen last week as well that there were big funds that were saying, basically Micro Sailor, right? Gemmy covered this. Micro Sailor was saying, yeah, he wants to sell his stocks to buy Bitcoin because it's at such a big discount. Because people who realize this, right? People who realized, oh, these short-term sellers are cashing out. They're just jumping on that opportunity here. So, all right. So, Gemmy, let's throw. We got some. Let's move on with the topics here. So, Gemmy, you have a topic to cover as well with regards to. Let's see. Yeah. Do you want to cover a topic?
Ethereum.
Yes, ETH. Yes, sorry. I was like, I momentarily blanked out. Yes. Do you want me to put it on? Do you want me to put it on the?
Yes, please.
I'll put it on my screen. Yes. Okay. Here we go.
All right. So Ethereum upgrade, which will reduce ETH supply, moves into stages. The London hard fork will include EIP 1559, which lowers the amount of ETH miners receive. So the London hard fork should be ready in July. It will hit the Roaston testnet next week. So here are the details. Tim Baker of the Ethereum Foundation announced that London will go live on the Roaston testnet around June 24th, followed by Go Alley on June 30th, and Rinkeby on July 7th. All days are estimated and could shift slightly depending on how long it takes blocks to mine. Well, just want to explain a little bit more because I feel like people were just paying attention to EIP 1559, where there are actually 5 separate EIPs or Ethereum improvement proposals. The reason why people focus on EIP 1559 so specifically is because it alters how network fees work and how miners get compensated, which means Ethereum could potentially be deflationary in the future. Well, let's just hope there's no delay, and even though if there's a delay, I won't be surprised to see it though. It's kind of expected to see a delay in the crypto space anyway.
You're such a veteran, Gemmy. You're such a veteran. You're like, programmers. Let's get them. Let's give them 1 or 2 months extra. She's a true veteran here. She's a true veteran. Yeah. So you're expecting a delay, Gemmy? You're expecting this to come a little bit slower?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. All right. It's but I definitely see that this is kind of long waited. I mean, it's Ethereum needs a few critical upgrades. Obviously, the main ones are for Ethereum 2.0, which we know is launched, but doesn't process transactions at this current point. But this is why we're kind of looking at Ethereum, the current Ethereum, to see when the upgrades are coming and to see what's going to happen. Right now, I feel like there's another big factor that's also affecting the Ethereum rates, which is basically MEV, so miner extracted value. That's actually having a big impact on the transaction costs, which is drastically lowering it too. So, anyways, yeah, I think it's good. All right, Nate, do you have anything to share with us? Let's move on.
News-wise, yeah, there's a few more. It's mostly just about. It's also back to the mining thing.
All right, do you want to throw that on? Do you want to throw that on?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's clear that I'm trying to get a few things set up here, so I'm just trying to. Yeah, all right, cool. Boom, let's throw that on.
So this is back to the mining. So from a larger perspective, we're going to talk about the overall effects of what is happening when the miners are leaving China and where they're going to go. And there's also mining pools. So as you all know, mining pools are just bands of people of the competition, like different teams together who are trying to solve the Rubik's Cube the fastest, essentially. So let's say we have 3 people here and everybody in the stream, we all team up. There's 600 of us. We all are one box mining pool, and now we are in the fighting to solve this block and maybe potentially earn and split the rewards. And so here is a list from Wu Blockchain. That is a tweet of the top 10 mining pools, and usually the top 10 are traditionally have been all in China. A lot of them have been in China. Sorry, not every single one, but
I'll throw this on here. This is a graph that represents the changes of mining pools over time. So I'm just going to elaborate. Sorry to interrupt you, Nate.
Go for it.
But because people can join mining pools, whichever one. So if you're a miner, and this is something I've done in the past as well, you're a miner, you can just choose one of these pools to join. It just makes your life a little bit easier because you have more predictable rewards. And a lot of times there's geolocation as well. So, some pools are stronger in China because they cater to Chinese miners a little bit better. But you can definitely see like what Nate was showing up here. I'm going to throw what Nate was showing up here on the stream here. Via BTC is number 1 right now. You see Ant and F2 pool dropping basically.
Mm-hmm. Right. And the Foundry USA is number 7. And so I looked at the website just to see kind of who they are. I've never heard of them, obviously, but I mean, for them to get to where they are, it's big for us, from the side of the US, because it's very rare. It's just showing that, the US is starting to kind of accept and open up, and that they're like, okay, mining is here for long term. Bitcoin is here for long term. And so what are we going to do about it? How can we, get in on this market share? And so they have a full team right here. We got Michael, also name's Mike. We got Josh.
Everyone's Mike, man.
Literally everybody's Mike. Yeah. And so we got a huge team here of Foundry, and hopefully they can continue to do what they do, and check that out.
So a lot of people, I saw a comment from Zabiso Niloco says, how do I mine Bitcoin? So currently at this current stage, to answer a question there, right, you need to buy these miners. So back in the day, it could be possible to mine with your just normal, for Bitcoin, you can mine with a computer. Back in the day, you were able to mine with your computer or GPU. But nowadays you need these like kind of very hardcore ASICs. And these are essentially why this is because there's very specialized to mine Bitcoin, which means that they're extremely efficient at mining Bitcoin. Technically, you can still mine Bitcoin with computer, but you're so inefficient compared to them that you're basically get a fraction of a penny per day, and you're going to spend more electricity than not. So these are just a lot more efficient. So you can see on these websites, they're like, oh, power efficiency, the hash rate, right? So you can see that the hash rates are in the tera, but if you mine with your computer, it will be like like a million times less efficient than something like this. So right now for Bitcoin, you can only really efficiently mine it with something like Antminer. And if you're talking about Ethereum mining can be mined with graphics cards. So Ethereum GPU, so what2mine.com is good for this. To mine, you can basically figure out like what GPU you have. So for me, I'm always on this one because I have a 3070. And for a 3070, I can approximately earn, it's like $3 per day. It's actually not bad, to be fair. So I can earn $3 per day, which is kind of explaining why GPUs are extremely expensive right now, because the miners are souping them up. Because if you can make $3 per day and the GPUs recommended price of a 3070 used to be, all right, this is a comedy MSRP. So the MSRP of a 3070 was starting at $499. So technically, right, if you can mine for 130 days, you can recover the cost of a 3070, right? So this was like a no-brainer for a lot of miners, which also means that miners bought these up and now they're completely out of stock everywhere, right? So funny story, I went to the computer mall in Shamshui-Po this weekend, which is the Hong Kong's biggest kind of like area to buy these items, and they're all like secondary market now, and they're selling a 3070 at literally, I think it was around $1,200. So they're like 3 times the price, the recommended sale price of these GPUs. Like right now, GPUs are so damn expensive. It's nuts. So,
it's really expensive. I tried to buy one too because I wanted to build a PC. I'm still using a Mac because I'm like, okay, well, if I'm going to start doing live streams and start doing better editing, I'm going to get a PC. I tried to buy it. Dude, there's nothing out there. I think the 3070 is like 15 to 2,000, 2,500 over here. There's nothing like there's like 4 of them at the micro center here. People were like 60 people in line. They're like, we got four of them for you guys. They just like make us fight each other to the death for these cards. So
I mean, it's ridiculous right now. We got Nerf Flick now. Smile says my son had to wait 8 months for his GPU and had to get on a list. He's into video game development. He hates miners. Yep. It's miners are making a bad name for themselves. So it's hard. But if you have one, all right, you can consider mining. I mean, these rates are not bad. If you have like a 3070, even like if you're a baller, like you have a 3080, you can, let's see, calculate this. You're gonna earn quite a bit, to be honest, like $5 per day. I mean, it adds up, right? 5 times 30 is $150 per month. Free money,
and
right?
More cards, yeah. You get more cards, you can double up. 2 cards, double. 3 cards is triple. You get like 6.
And then even if your electricity costs are like 12 cents per kilowatt hour, you're gonna make a profit. It's as clear and simple as that. So, anyways,
Ethereum the thing to mine right now. A lot of my friends are mining Ethereum. They're brand new, but they can't mine Bitcoin because the equipment, it's just too expensive. But with Ethereum, you can turn a profit. You can break even pretty quickly, and it's
pretty quickly, especially if you got a cheap graphics card. You're good. All right, let me cover some other stuff very quickly. Nate, we have this for you, but do you want to cover this crypto.com stuff? How do I, or do you want me to cover it?
How do we? Yeah, we can switch off on it.
All right. So yeah, crypto.com just made a strategic investment to them. We feature Matt on this channel, so congrats to Matt. But yeah, they're getting Tyson Fury on their platform, and I guess crypto.com didn't really have an NFT source, so they're like, you know what, we're gonna make an investment there. So congrats.
Yeah.
Right.
And then if you take a look at the bottom, I thought there was something very interesting. There's a link that says about the other stuff. CNN is about to other stuff. You see, CNN is launching its own NFTs collectibles. Yeah, I knew you were gonna do that. It's kind of
Gemmy, what's your take on the NFTs? Are you loving this? Are you hating this? What's your take?
Sorry, I mute my mic. I do love NFT because I used to be a musician. That's why I love NFT.
It's more for the artist, right? So it's more. So why is that? Is it more because like if you can NFT your music, or do you think it's good for supporting artists?
It's definitely good for supporting artists because I used to be one of them, so I understand how they feel.
Exactly. But at the same time, do you think it's a little bit too crazy right now? Because like we have 1 million NFTs for everything, right? Like cosmetics.
It is a little bit overwhelming, isn't it?
I mean, have you purchased any? Have you purchased any NFTs? Are you an NFT collector?
No, I haven't actually. Maybe I should make some NFT, by the way.
Yeah, like if you get some music, right? I think our channel.
Are you going to purchase it?
We'll give it away to the mining chat. Yeah, we'll give it to the YouTube chat.
Yeah, maybe I should.
See, Gemmy's a lot more, thinking. She's like, she doesn't want to give it away. She wants to sell it. She's like, who wants to buy this? She wants to buy this, right? She it's like work doesn't come free. That's what Gemmy's saying. Work doesn't come free.
What kind of music?
Right, guys, if you guys are interested, check out. Tell us if you're interested, guys. And Gemmy, what kind of music? Give us a preview.
Well, I really like Canton pop. So Cantonese, that's my native language. So I usually sing in Cantonese, and I write song in Cantonese as well.
Awesome. So if you want Gemmy to write a Canto pop song about you, well, tell us down below. Tell us down below, and we'll get that NFT ready for you guys. Well, Gemmy's gonna get that NFT ready. So are you gonna use Refinable for that, Gemmy?
Yeah, hopefully. Definitely Refinable. What I'm talking about. Definitely Refinable.
Got it. All right. Quickly, let's finish up with some other stuff that's on the smaller side of the news. We're scraping the bottom of the barrel, but I'm sorry to put Amber there. But yeah, Amber is now Amber Group is valued at $1 billion after raising $100 million in funding. So Wow. It goes to show that China is not giving up. So Amber is so it's led by the Chinese investments for China Renaissance, and yeah, money's just flowing there. You know, I
Yeah,
think it's a
it's a Hong Kong
it,
company.
yes. It's a Hong Kong company and it's China-led investment. So yeah, it's happening. More and more people, like these groups, are raising more, and you know this is kind of picking up the slack for Grayscale, right? Grayscale is getting kind of crushed over here, and Amber's like, you know what, we're gonna buy that up. We're gonna, guess what, guys? So that's I think like we're seeing bigger and bigger raises now. So I think that's good, and I definitely want to see that coming. We also got Iceberg says let's see on the comments. We have a lot of comments asking Gemmy karaoke time. So Gemmy, I think your NFTs, you need a new series of NFTs for us next week. The Gemmy NFT series. All right, and I think let me just see that as well. Let's throw that. Let's see the London Hartford. All right, I think maybe we'll cover something about the digital yuan. Let me throw that on the screen. And this is our back end news segment area. So China's throwing their digital yuan at 3,000 plus ATMs in Beijing. We saw this coming. So China's pushing very, very hard on DCEP, and it's completely like it takes a lot of blockchain tech and it flips it on its head and immediately makes it centralized.
Yeah.
So this is a centralized version of there's a digital version of the Chinese yuan, and it's going straight into ATMs. Well, initially the hope of DCEP was that it could allow people to bridge into crypto much easier, but it seems to be that this is not the case right now. There's no automatic bridge to bridge DCEP to crypto right as of this point. The reason why is because it's very centralized. All the keys to really allow for any transfers to happen, they can even like remove the ability for this coin to be sent because there's kind of like multiple governing entities layers on this tech. So it seems to be the case that they're trialing this out, but eventually if they open it up, that could be interesting, and we'll have to see. This is kind of like the biggest kind of battle we have right now between the centralized currencies and decentralized currencies. And I feel like China's moving forward, and that's a good thing because it both validates what's happening in the blockchain space, that this technology works, although they kind of changed it so it's centralized, but at the same time it also gets people used to kind of spending digital currencies. I think that's kind of key here. So,
yeah, they also read online. I read online that they gave the first salary in DCEP. Yeah, they paid out the first person.
It's gonna be crazy amounts of control. It's yeah.
I also like. I mean, I heard about DCEP through the. You wrote something for like a Forbes article. You remember? So it's like, how has your view changed from then? From because that was almost a year ago, I think, right? So like, I guess that's what I personally want to know. That was my question. Like, how do you, since that article, what from your viewpoint, what have you learned? What has changed?
Yeah. So we have an article on a very, very long article, actually. This is one of the longest articles on DCEP and, how they launched it, what they're trying to do with it. So if you guys want to do it, just search DCEP. I think we're at like the top article. So we spent a lot of effort on this, by the way. So I'm like, okay. So if you search DCEP, we have the long article on there, and this was like written in before we started writing this before DCEP was even launched, and right now we're kind of in this phase where DCEP is getting massively pushed on board. So I think at the start we were a little bit more hopeful that there was a way to connect DCEP to Bitcoin and other digital currencies. Like, how like you can have right now, there's Uniswap and there's other exchanges and even cross-chain swaps that are available. So we're thinking, look, can China really hop into both crypto via DCEP? Would there be a bridge? And right now it seems like this is not the case, right? It seems like China because they didn't reveal too many technical details about this when they first announced it. They were more or less saying, you know what, this is it's kind of based on blockchain. It's kind of not, but we have multiple layers. We have like the PBOC, the People's Bank of China. They're like the top, and they have one of the keys to kind of control the currency. Like it's kind of the one ring to control them all, right? Then they have like the second tier banks up there, and they also have their own key. So it's like the nine rings for mankind sort of situation, right? The 9 rings of power and the one ring that rules them all. So they revealed these details. We didn't really know how much it can bridge to crypto. I feel it's a situation where we're a little bit hopeful at the start. We saw multiple projects. Like we even saw Cardano saying, yeah, we're going to build a bridge. Like I think almost every single project hop on board that train and say, we'll build that bridge from DCEP to our cryptocurrency and to our ecosystem. But it turns out this is a lot harder than it is, right? Because it's much more centralized, and because there's these different control points where they can just pull the plug on everything. I think that's not possible at this current point. So we don't really see those direct bridges between DCEP and crypto. We don't see any DCEP BFI or anything like that. So that's, I would say, that would be the disappointing part. I would say it's like it's much more centralized than what we originally thought or anticipated, and the bridging to crypto is currently, I don't think it's going to be very, going to be done for a while. But that being said, of course, I think the adoption of this is much faster than I thought it would be. I think it really, like, China really did put effort into this. It wasn't a situation where China said, you know what, this is something that we're doing, we're cooking up, this is going to be fun, LOL, right? But it was a situation where they really did, push that hard and say, you know what, let's push that hard. Let's do this. So I definitely view this as, a strong positive long term, but it will take a while for people to really push that. So I think that's my 2 cents on this.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think things take time, and whoever's really building infrastructure and really going for it, it can be good for crypto. In the long term, as long as people are using it, and yeah, we'll see.
Awesome. So let's start wrapping that up. So I think this is pretty much all the big news that we have. So guys, make sure you smash up the likes down below if you guys like this segment. Especially if you want those Gemmy NFTs coming, Gemmy music NFTs coming very soon. Gemmy, when's the release, guys? When's the release, Gemmy?
As soon as possible.
As soon as possible. Awesome.
Good answer.
All right. So, good answer. So smash those likes up. Check out Nate's and Gemmy's channel, guys. So guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in today. And we'll see you guys on Friday. So Friday will be our next stream. And if you guys want any other topics, any other coins to be covered on this channel, I would love to hear from you. And we'll be producing some comment throughout the week, so make sure you're subscribed, and we'll see you guys next time. Bernard says, thank you. Appreciate sharing your time. Thank you, Bernard, for watching as well. I know it's been a pretty rough weekend for everyone here, but I hope you guys, we explained to you what's happening, and yeah, and the strong will continue on, and that's the strength. We see that right now. So guys, thank you guys so much for watching, guys. See you guys next stream.